Hello and welcome to the Belly Dance book tag. I've had to rearrange a few things in my living room. Tiki's ready to watch. Panther was here but new when I was about to start recording, so little stinker moved, and here we go. Thank goodness for a long cord and microphone. So here we go. This tag was created by our fun size buddy Kat over at Ginger Bibliophile Reads. Be sure to go check out her original performance, which will be much better than what I will likely be doing, as she's taken classes with belly dancing. Prompt number 1 has to do with hip circles. So we're gonna just move our hips this way, and yeah, there's a little bit of tail wagging going on, but I did warn you in the thing. This has to do about a comfort book, and I picked 2 of them. So my first one, and you've seen me talk about this before, is Dracula. My first vampire. So I'm going to sit here and see if Mr. Panther decides to turn around and show you his face instead of his butt. Dracula, I've mentioned numerous times on my channel. My first vampire will always be my favorite vampire, partly because he's the first, but also because in this story there is actually historical information that relates to the situation that Vlad Tepes, the count that this is based on, would have experienced during his lifetime in the 1400s. So for me, this is fiction, it's historical, and he was the first vampire. So definitely one of my comfort reads. And yes, this is my original copy from the 1970s. The other comfort read, and I took off the cover that it came with. It had a beautiful butterfly, I believe. This is Steering by Starlight by Martha Beck. This is a book that made a huge difference when I was going through my back injury and home for 5 months dealing with just a lot of really challenging things. It's well written. It talks about synchronicity. If you've read Celestine Prophecy, you're familiar with that. It also talks about how we interact with other people. Energy vampires, as in people who steal our energy, partly because they're just always negative and never seem to turn things around to the positive, and you just feel exhausted after you're around them. And the difference between people who are venting and trying to get things turned around for themselves is we all go through dark periods, we all go through challenging times, and we have our days where we're just, can't do it. But energy vampires are very different. They're always in that place, some consciously, some unconsciously. It's just, it doesn't seem to matter what day you talk to them, when you talk to them, nothing is ever seeming to go right, or they're always wanting to talk about what isn't going right instead of wanting to talk about what to do and how to change it. And Beck also talks about the ring of fire, which I've been through a few times in my life. And that's when you're starting to move and change and go on a different path and in a different direction. There are people in your life who aren't going to walk that path with you. And that's okay. Everyone has to do what makes sense for them. But if you're moving ahead, then you need to honor that process and be okay with people not following you along that path. They need to follow their own path. So the Ring of Fire is about the people who suddenly disappear. Some, it's a mutual agreement. Some, it may not be such a pleasant parting of ways. But either way, you need to honor your own path and, yeah, just honor your own path. So this was a very important read. I've read it a few times. I was reading it with the Artist's Way. It may be time to read it again. I know I've made extensive notes. Yes, Noah, there is highlighting and writing all through this. And I have no doubt that as I go through it again, there will be even more highlighting. And no, I did not fill in the questionnaires in the book. Again, because when I go through this each time, I don't want to be swayed by who I was when I read it when I first had my back injury, because a decade plus later, I am not that individual anymore. So, yeah, it would be curious to see where I'm at now with that. Here, I'm going to have to do these a bit lower because I know these two are hilarious. So, move number 2, let's do it this way because I don't actually have to walk for it. Okay. Move number 2, and I've got Panther and Tiki here watching, is shoulder shimmies. So I can do this here, and shoulder shimmies, you're just wiggling your shoulders, and you got your arms, and because it's hilarious and I have wings, we'll do the shoulder shimmies this way. Prompt number 2 is about a book that made you shiver. I don't have a copy of it. I used to. It was one of my big fiction unhauls and won't be a rebuy. So it's going to appear somewhere up here, and that is Misery by Stephen King. I've read, I don't know how many horror and paranormal and outside the box books about all kinds of creatures and beings, and the only ones that scare the hell out of me are humans. And Misery definitely shows you the worst of the worst. You know, you see someone who is obsessed, and that's the key word there. And it just, I haven't watched the movie. I don't know how close it relates to the book. I love anything that Kathy Bates has been in, and I know I've seen a number of other movies with Kathy Bates. She's an amazing actress. I just can't watch Misery. It's just too real. It may be a fictional work by King, but yeah, it's the one that truly, and even just thinking about that story gives me the creeps, and especially now in April 2025. Okay, number 3, body roll. So I'm going to have to change the camera a little bit. And this book will be about that you got lost and went with it anyway. Okay, so first the body roll. And again, I did warn you there would be some tail wagging. So sideways is probably the best way to do it. This one I can do it because it actually helps my lumbar. And if you've been here before, you know I have chronic pain and issues with my back. And this is an exercise I actually do. So this one I can do. Body roll is you're literally rolling your entire body. And this, yes, actually feels nice for my back. And yes, get the little tail swinging there. So the book I actually picked, The Vampire Chronicles. And yes, I'm scooching down a bit, and we'll see if Panther Tiki. Oh, Panther's having a bath. Dude, you're on camera. Come on. So while Panther's having a bath, we'll talk about The Vampire Chronicles. I am currently rereading the entire series with Kat from Ginger Bibliophile. As far as this book being complicated, part of it is I didn't read them in order. When it first came out, Louis was my third vampire, Dracula was first, Barlow was second, and Interview was released with Louis the third. So initially, it was not a complicated series. We have Louis, we have Lestat, and Armand. But of course, as the series continues on, we meet different vampires, different time periods, different backstories. And like I say, initially, I didn't read them in order. I read, I think, up to book 3 the last time they came out, which is where I'm at now, Queen of the Damned. And then I got into my nonfiction spree. So I really didn't visit the Vampire Chronicles much then. I'd read different vampire books, but I hadn't come back to this series. I did start reading them again about 3 years ago. I decided to start with the Interview. My library had different books, and at that time, it was easy to get a few of them. Now, with the TV series out, it's a little more challenging. So I just repurchased The Vampire Lestat, which I finished reading last week. And I've just started Queen of the Damned, trying to get a little ahead with the reads. And yeah, it's getting more complex because, like I say, you've got so many different vampires. But I'll be talking more about that series as the months go by. Also, if you're interested in the series, you can get in touch with either myself or with Kat and join us for the read along. We're just doing one book a month, so relatively easy to keep up depending on what the rest of your reading is like. And we are also planning virtual teas or live streams to chat about the different storylines and characters. So if you'd like to be a part of that, for sure let me know in the comments down below. Prompt number 4 is figure 8. Yeah, I'm not sure how this one's gonna go, but I will give it a try. And of course, that relates to a complicated story. Makes sense. So let's see how this figure 8 is gonna turn out. And yes, thankfully, Panther has done his bath. I look like there. For some reason, my silly little dragon face keeps wobbling along. Okay, a figure 8, I think, has to do with your hips, and you get your hands moving, and of course, the figure 8 is the infinity symbol. I have some of those with crystals, and there we go. Because although the body roll is good, my back do not like figure eights or the samba, which is supposed to be a good exercise, but not for everybody. All right, the complicated story. You gonna listen, Panther? This is also a group read. My co-host Ven from Ven's Corner. We're reading it with Dee Dee, Virtues of Books, and Hermie, the book hermit, on a Voxer group. There is also a Discord group for it. I found out about, hey dude, the Wheel of Time, thanks to actually Prime, and yes, there's a sticker on the book you can't take off. So I learned about this in 2022 when the series started. Well, they call it a series. It's only 8 episodes. So to me, sorry, it's not a series. And I decided to check out the books because I figured that's what the series was based on. I read the first 3 books and I decided I wanted to keep going with them. So by 2022, I had read all 14. I have yet to read the prequel. For our group read, we're doing 1 book a month. Yes, they are all huge. And I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to our upcoming virtual tea to chat about book 1 and 2. And at a future date, we will be having a live stream to chat about it. But the nice thing with the virtual tea is we don't have to worry about spoilers because we've all read them. Let me know in the comments down below if you're watching the series. I'm going to wait at least until I finish book 3 before I watch season 1 again because, yeah, the series is complicated. There are a lot of characters. There's world building. There's different creatures. There's the historical aspect of a previous time period and objects that do certain things. We have, they call them the Aes Sedai, but basically you could put in the word witches and think of the burning times. So it can get a bit complex, but it's a series I really enjoyed speeding on through in 1 year. And I'm really enjoying the reread. And as Ven and I have both mentioned, it's amazing going through, and understandable because it's a reread for both of us. But now the amount of foreshadowing that you're catching because we already know how it ends and what happens with certain characters. And there's also a number of scenes that are now really standing out for us from The Lord of the Rings, which I didn't really catch the first read through. And part of that could be, like I say, I finished the whole 14 book series in 2022. I mean, it took me the whole year, and I was reading a number of other books at that time. But it is nice now going through slower, a book a month, and really picking out and highlighting what's going on throughout it. And what I've done this time, because the point of view also changes between chapters, and I didn't do it here, and I can't show you book 2 without some spoilers, is what I've been doing is in the front of the book, I've been making note of whose point of view each chapter's from, along with a few outstanding things, like if a character we thought was gone returns. So I need to go back to book 1 and do that again. And yes, I am also still planning on doing my huge journal of each of the books so that I can go back and look through it. Okay. Prompt number 5, travel step. Well, Panther's now off eating some kibbles. Tiki is crashed out in the hammock. She was actually playing with the dragon tail before I started recording, so it's kind of good that hasn't happened yet. So we'll see how the travel step goes. So before Before I start the travel, oh, are you kidding? Okay, before I do the travel step, because my camera decided to turn off and I need to re-record this part. Yes, Tiki is still passed out in the hammock, which, by the way, Panther adores. And yes, I had to move his camper to make room for me to do the steps. Yes, I did take the dragon hood off because it's hot. I know doing Cousin It gets crazy hot when I pull my hair forward, but wearing the dragon onesie is hot as well. So, Panther's now having some more kibbles and a drink. It's funny, dude's just been laying and having a bath. I've been doing the exercise, but he's having the snack and food. So I need to do prompt number 5, which is the travel step. And this time, I'm sure the mouse has moved way over so it doesn't decide to somehow turn the camera off. So the travel step has to do with hip up, 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 up. Get your little hands going. And here I am back at the camera. So I have done all the moves. Yay me! And yes, I did rewatch Kat's video to make sure I had the moves right. The travel step relates to a new release that you're excited for. Just had to shimmy around there to sit. The majority of the books that I read are, if not 5 years old, they're much older, like 10 to 100 years old, because yes, I do enjoy the classics as well, as in H.G. Wells and Jules Verne. I almost brought Frankenstein upstairs, who I've seen a number of people have mentioned recently that they've read. I enjoyed that story as well, along with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which I just read for the first time in the last couple of years. I've seen the movies of both over the years, but it was just in the last 2 years that I read each of them. And they may be a good revisit for horror mayhem because they are indeed horror stories and relate to, with science and human choices, ego, just so many different things. The last prompt to this is, of course, tagging people. If you have been watching this video and you think it looks like you can have some fun with it, no. My choice was to do this in a dragon onesie because it was fun and because I knew I could there'd be some tail wagging in the thumbnail. It is completely up to you. The idea, of course, and thank you, Kat, for coming up with this, is to just have some fun and get moving and have a little bit of exercise as we chat about the books we enjoy. 3 people I will tag, and as always, it's your choice if you have time, if you wish to do it. And I know a number of people who I would have tagged for this have already been tagged. So I'm going to name 3 people. 2 of you may have already been tagged. The first is Mark from Book Ramble. Hey, Panther. I know you could likely have fun with this. And yes, I do need to watch your pirate tag and figure out what I'm going to be doing for that. Panther's okay with where his camper has been moved at the moment. He's deciding whether he's going to have a nap in there or not. The second person I'm tagging is Jack from Sci-Fi, and I think you could have fun with this, Jack. You've been hanging out with us in the Friday sprints over on Kat's channel, so you know we all like to have fun and just get silly. And I know you can find sci-fi books that connect with this, so this might get you to step a little bit out of your genre or connect it all in with sci-fi. The third person I'm going to tag is Dan from World of Mr. Gray. And yes, I know this is not your typical type of video, Dan, but I remember your dance video. You got some moves, and I think you could have some fun with this, and I would love to hear what kind of books you read, because I do know, along with being a debunker, you're also a reader. But as always, no pressure when I tag people to do videos. Do remember, if you decide to do this, though, to tag me, and hopefully YouTube lets me know that you have, because I've recently found out some have done my dragon tag and YouTube isn't letting me know, sadly. Also, remember to tag Kat from Ginger Bibliophile so she can come and watch your videos and see how much fun people are having. And until next time, remember, be safe, be well, and big hugs.